Okay, guys, the Japanese space station is alive. Japanese rocket launch area is live, and it is in Mitsubishi Heavy Industry rocket. They still are not showing the rocket right now, but what addition is that NASA is showing live cargo launch to International Space Station from Japan. So the coverage is for both, and let's see what cargo launch to the International Space Station is, and what Mitsubishi Industry is doing. Okay. So these are the people from the space center, and I'm still looking at the launch. Okay, they have sent the feed. So basically what they are explaining that this will happen to their satellite and to their crews of receiving this component, and they are just projecting it, and this will happen to the component after dispatch, after separation of every fuel component, which will get back to either NASA or the area of the space station. Basically, it is the releasing of the gravitational force and the fuel tanks which gets empty from the rocket, and this component is the replacement of the upgradation of the component that is that was made, I think, in 2011, and it has been replaced, I think, twice, and it will be replaced in the next 2 years. So this is the Japan center, what they have been doing for this event, and what they have been making. These engineers have been making all the scenarios of the failure, and you can see it on the NASA's website and YouTube channel. And this is the projection that the rocket will do in a few minutes, and this is the how they will show us the projection. I hope they will show us the real thing from the space station or SpaceX, or the delivery of the component. This is the animation of the space center, and that is showing the component of the space station, and this is the ignition. This is the a little show of their testing, and show of their testing of the rocket, testing of the fuel, testing of everything that they are trying to do. Basically, they are showing people what they have been doing, what actually has been worked on, and they have been working day and night for this to happen, to represent their country, to represent their city, to represent their cultures, to represent everything that they are trying to be. So they are combining these components of the rocket to deliver a component to the people on the space station, to build SpaceX better, so that the space journey that our astronauts are going to do on 27th May 2020, they are easily available. So this is basically the animation of the rocket, and this rocket will fly like this, and after the flight, uh, this is basically designed through Google Earth projections by Japan. They have been doing a lot of things in Google Earth, but it's a new era there. So this will happen. These side fuel tanks will separate from the rocket, and they have injected the fuel in the precise moment, so that the fuel is consumed in the boosting of the it's just like a car. If you have NOS in it, you just boost the NOS in the carburetor, and the power is uh, doubled as you have fuel in it. So this will get the orbit. F- with the orbit, I mean, in our scenario, we have created different grids of orbits. So this will get into the orbit, and then the space station people, I don't know what they will do, but I think they'll follow it, or they'll see the projections what the orbit is doing with the component. And as you can see that the velocity of the component has decreased, and the fuel has ended, and the component has separated the last fuel tank, the fuel ignition, and has gone to the towards the space station. And if it doesn't go there, it will go inside. It is basically a remotely used by the NASA in the Houston area and the Kennedy Space Station. So now we are getting the real feed of the rocket in Japan. And basically this is the rocket. A representative of NASA, a colleague of mine, will tell you what NASA is covering, because this is has been covered with the Japanese employees of NASA. So they are narrating it in Japanese. That is why we are covering it as well. So all the information about the rocket, all the information about the uh, flight, and the projections, and the real things that is happening will be uh, told to you by a representative of NASA. So this, as you have seen the animation. This has four tanks, and the rocket has been made. It's a big rocket. The component is big as well. As you can understand, the uh, building of the uh, rocket. uh, okay, I'm just seeing the um, people who have uh, redirected the uh, feed from the space station, but I don't think that they will give the feed anymore. So just we'll just wait for the NASA people to start off. I think they are going to start the rocket now, and yeah, we can see the smoke. So basically, they are making it hot. So it's already hot, and then we can move further. Okay, I'll talk to you when it's done. Okay, I'm tuning into the NASA representative, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Okay, they are telling me to redirect, keep on talking. So he'll tune in. She's continuously repeating it, and you can see that the rocket is basically what the simulation told us what that rocket is going to do. I'm trying to find out
running through the
what
checklist at the 2-minute 48-second mark until liftoff. Everything continues to proceed on track. Again, this is about a 15.5-minute flight from liftoff until the time that the HTV-9 spacecraft separates from the second stage of the H-2B rocket. A good close-up view of the three of the four solid rocket boosters that surround the first stage of the H-2B, the launch vehicle managed by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries.
140、39、38、37、36、35、34、33、32、31、130、29、28、
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
25、24、23、22、21、120、19、18、17、16、15、14。
Launch pad floodlights creating a luminescent effect on the H-2B rocket as it prepares to begin its journey to send the final HTV cargo craft to the International Space Station.
1段液体酸素系準備完了。
Initialization completed of the liquid oxygen system of the first stage.
90 seconds until launch.
2段液体酸素系液体水素系準備完了。
Followed by the commercialization of liquid oxygen and hydrogen system of the second stage. They are complete.
76、75、74、73、72、71、70、69、60。セクター冷却開始。
1 minute until launch. Everything in good shape. T-minus 44 seconds.
थोड़ा जो है वो pieces में prepare
T-minus
किया
30
सारा।
seconds and counting. T-minus 14 seconds and counting, standing by for engine ignition. We have engine start. And we have liftoff. A rising sun over the land of the rising sun as JAXA's H-2B rocket and the HTV-9 cargo craft take flight. Roll, pitch, and yaw program in effect. And the H-2B rocket takes flight to the International Space Station. Liftoff occurring right on the dot at 12:31 p.m. even Central Time, 2:31 a.m. Japan time. 44 seconds into the flight.
高崎総合司令塔に引き継がれ
Just passing 1 minute into the flight, everything continuing to look good.
ロケットは正常に飛行中であり、種子島の地上局は正常にロケットの追尾を行っています。
4 solid rocket boosters, 2 liquid fuel engines propelling the HTV-9 towards its preliminary orbit, coming up on the 1 minute 30 second mark into the flight.
Tuning the rocket. Haven't found the altitude yet. 15 minutes. He's saying 15 minutes.
Coming up on the 2 minute mark into the flight, coming up on solid rocket booster shutdown and separation. And we have solid rocket booster jettison. 2.5 minutes into the flight. First stage engines are continuing to fire, as they will until about the 5 minute 46 second mark into the flight, at which point those engines will shut down, the first stage will separate. Minutes, 10 seconds into the flight, everything proceeding normally. The first stage continues to burn in excellent shape. All good reports coming in from the Range Control Center at Tanegashima. Coming up on the 4 minute mark into the flight. About 2 minutes to go in first stage performance. The H-2B rocket is operating in normal fashion. Four and a half minutes into the flight, which has been flawless so far. Everything proceeding well. Good first stage performance. The solid rocket boosters that separated just over 2 minutes into the flight did their job in augmenting the dual first stage engines on the H-2B rocket. This is the final flight of the H-2B, to be replaced with the new H-3 rocket that JAXA will be employing for its new genre of cargo craft called the HTV-X, that is scheduled to launch about 2 years from now. 5 minutes, 5 seconds into the flight. Minutes, 56 seconds into the flight.
The first stage engine cut off.
Okay guys, congratulations on the
Alright guys, they're playing some music that I don't have copyright to. So I cannot be playing it right now.
Now you
Confirmation of the first and second stages.
Yeah.
This is the telemetry of the rocket. Second stage is up, and the engine is running. And it'll be running for about 8.5 to 9 minutes. The ignition was on time. Thanks, Dustin Ruckman. Thanks for that sub. Let's go. Let's do some of these shout-outs real quick while this is happening. Thanks, Adrian Stucker, for the sub. Thank you to, let's see who else. I'm scrolling up here to see who else subbed today.
So I can understand.
If you sub, get a little shout-out. Super chats, super stickers are open, so if anybody wants to help that way, cool. Thanks, JW, for the sub. Thanks, Henry Pham, for the sub. Also, the Satish M, thanks for the sub. And if your name is hard for me, I'm sorry, and I apologize for ruining it, but I'm really bad at that. Great use of Google Earth. I know, right? Randy, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We do a fundraiser to send up some flat earthers, just saying.
No, but you
I don't
are
think they'd go.
I am seeing it as well, but the footage that I can see.
8 minutes in,
Yeah.
coming up soon. Flawless flight. Whose favorite is Falcon Heavy? Whew, I would say I'm in there.
Yeah,
Is there a
that's
tracker
true.
online? I'm not sure, Carl. Looking for the ISS view. That'll be happening
Yeah.
later on. You know what I could do? Thanks, Randy Many, for that sub. I appreciate it. Let's do a little something different here. Let's do... Hold on. Give me a couple seconds here. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome, by the way. All right, we're coming in hot, man. Thanks for all those subs. I appreciate it. You get a little shout above my head too for the subs. So we're coming in hot with the JAXA Live feed here, and I want to say thanks to everybody who's been subbing to the channel. Thanks to everybody who's watching right now. If you like this kind of stuff, if you like launches, if you like space news, if you like SpaceX, NASA, etc., make sure to hit the sub button because we do these things all the time. And we do live podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time. And also all the upcoming Demo 2 mission stuff, it's going to be here. So there'll be live feeds of all that stuff. When the astronauts arrive today, later today, we'll have a live feed going on for that. So just make sure to hang out. Thanks, Will Corrado, for the sub. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody.
But you?
Coming in hot. Anthony Page, thank you for the sub. Appreciate Randy as well. All you guys, thanks so much for all the subs. Momen El... I killed your name, man. I'm sorry. Moemen. I ruined it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm bad at it. But yeah, thanks for all the support, everyone. This is really, really fun, and I appreciate all of you. So what's going to be happening today is the astronauts for the Demo 2 mission are going to be showing up at the Kennedy Space Center today. And they'll be, this is the last time we get to see them kind of like in the public, or the first time we get to see them in the public before the launch. There'll be other things going on. So many new subs, thank you so much. RS Mike, is that what it was? RS I'm Mike and you just okay. I'm ruining everyone's name. Viren Harjani, is that right?
Combustion of the second stage engine, attitude control, and trajectory
minutes into the flight. We have about 4 minutes and change of second stage performance left for the H-2 rocket. The velocity of the H-2B rocket is matching all of the pre-launch parameters. Good second stage performance. Good vehicle control as we are coming up on the 12-minute mark into the flight.
Which time? 12 minutes?
Once again, from the animation that you're looking at provided by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, the vehicle traveling some 6,700 meters per second. Good reports continue to come in from the Range Control Center at Tanegashima, where liftoff occurred 12 minutes and 45 seconds ago.
Anyhow,
Telemetry from the H-2B rocket and the HTV-9 cargo ship being processed through a series of ground stations being employed by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency on the trajectory of its flight. We're about 2 minutes away from the completion of second stage performance.
you won't be next time. Nobody lives here.
14 minutes into the flight, everything continuing to go well. Good vehicle control being reported. Good engine performance on the second stage. Meanwhile, the International Space Station has crossed the west coast of Africa, moving from southwest to northeast. And we have a report of second stage shutdown on time. We'll be standing by for spacecraft separation moments from now. Minutes into the flight, standing by for spacecraft separation. And this view now from the Range Control Center at Tanegashima. Applause as we have confirmation of spacecraft separation. The HTV-9 now in its preliminary orbit. A flawless launch and a flawless climb to orbit for the final HTV vehicle, now well on its way to the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Houston back here in the white flight control room where the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers monitored the successful launch of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's H-2B rocket and the final H-2 transfer vehicle, the HTV-9. On console, Flight Director Marcos Flores and spacecraft communicator Aki Hoshide, veteran Japanese astronaut, as we monitored the progress of the vehicle's climb to orbit and the spacecraft separation that delivered the HTV-9 vehicle into its preliminary orbit as it begins its 5-day chase to catch up to and arrive at the International Space Station. Once again, to recap, a flawless countdown. Everything proceeded without a hitch. Liftoff occurring right on time at 12:31 p.m. Central Time, 2:31 a.m. Japan time on Thursday. The second stage engine, H-2B rocket, lit up to its preliminary orbit, where it now begins its journey to the international outpost to deliver some 4 tons of cargo, as well as illuminating the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan as it began its climb out, arcing out to the northeast in pursuit of the International Space Station. The first stage note, the HTV-9 will arrive at the International Space Station next Space Center in southern Japan. Rendezvous and capture coverage will begin at 5:45 a.m. Central Time, 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Capture with NASA's Chris Cassidy operating the Canadarm2 robotic arm is scheduled at 7:15 a.m. Central, 8:15.
Okay, guys, congratulations on the liftoff. It was great, and the reach of the stages was great. The component got there. The component was delivered, is now being delivered there, but I'm not getting the footage of the delivery or the cargo that they were highlighting. I think that is the attraction for the Russian space station thing. So let's see if they have that footage.